Ok, vamos ver então o vídeo sobre o Stewie. É assim, isto são alegações, acho eu, mas vamos ver, porque está tudo a falar sobre isto, todo o cenário de CS está a falar sobre isto, toda a gente que fala sobre skins está a falar sobre isto, vamos ver.
Is going to be about STEWIE2K. Not for the first time in his career, Stewie is facing some controversy, and this time he's not just accused of being
Eu queria pôr legendas, mas tipo, rapazes, até que ponto é que vocês não percebem inglês, né? Tipo.
a jerk, he's being accused of being a jerk who's committed some actual crimes. And I'm not talking about the smokes. So, what has STEWIE2K gotten up to? Well, let's get into things. So for anyone who might not know, I will explain who Stewie is. Stewie is a very well-known former CS pro who won a major playing for Cloud9 in 2018 and also won an Intel Grand
Pois,
Slam.
exato, eu tinha dito isto na minha última stream, quando se começou a falar sobre a cena do Stewie, tipo, ele já ganhou majors, portanto ele tem que ter dinheiro. Ganhar um major é big deal mesmo, vocês ganham bastante.
In 2019 with Team Liquid. Following that, he moved to
Ganhou
Evil
dois, eu
Geniuses,
pensei que
where
tinha
his
sido só.
career rapidly started to mimic the trajectory of that org, which is to say, definitely not upwards. And then, after quitting and streaming for a bit, he subbed in for G2 at 2024 Dallas, where they won. At which point he went
Outra
back to
vez? Ganhou 3! Dá para meter mais alto, dá.
streaming, all while having a massive fight with Richard Lewis. In general, he's regarded as being one of CS's most successful pros and also a major personality in the scene, who's generally been a fan favourite, although admittedly a divisive one. So why are we talking about Stewie today? Well, the story begins with a very well-known Counter-Strike skins trader called Metalcat making a tweet which promisingly starts off with
Ganhou um major e 2 torneios de tiro. Ok, então eu estava certo quando disse que foi só um major.
him saying, Stewie
O Mital foi quem começou a falar sobre isto. O Mital é um middleman, basicamente. E ele emprestou-lhe dinheiro várias vezes, pelos vistos. Sendo que já ia em 20 e tal mil paus, só do Mital.
is a piece of shit. Well, that's a statement. So, what are the allegations? Well, Mattel alleges two things. The first is that Stewie took some skins off him and didn't pay for them. The second is that after the recent update that crashed the skins market, Stewie changed his mind about paying and wanted to return the skins, but then didn't even bother doing that anyway. So Mattel has produced a 38 tweet chain explaining everything that's happened. Now, these DMs start off on October 14 and they show Stewie trying to pre-sell Mattel some skins. Basically, this means Mattel is paying in advance for skins.
O Mital pagava-lhe em adiantado pelas skins.
Stewie will trade him in 7 days once they're tradable. This is quite common with big traders, it's not particularly unusual. And Stewie pre-sells Mattel a butterfly Doppler for $4K, sports gloves Vice for $820, a Karambit case hardened for $1,896, and he also starts fishing around on the gambling site that's sponsoring him for an extra knife. Now, this on its own isn't too weird, Stewie's in a bit of a rush, but there could be a bunch of reasons for that. But what is weird is this message Stewie sends him on October 16, declaring that he's out of time and he desperately needs 2,000
É irónico porque ele é STEWIE2K e está a pedir um extra 2 mil paus. Portanto, ele vendeu-lhe várias skins in advance antes dos 7 dias de hold e ainda lhe foi pedir mais dinheiro depois sem lhe ter mandado nenhuma skin.
dollars right now. This is a massive red flag, and not only that, you may notice that Stewie talks about paying back everything on November 13th. What does he mean by this? Well, he's referring to the fact that he already owes Mattel 25k from last month. STEWIE2K, more like Stewie25k, right? Right? Now, Mattel is well known in the skins community for being way too trusting and giving money to people that he shouldn't. Gonna mention that now, Mattel has a history of mistakes like this. Anyway, he doesn't immediately respond and Stewie manages to get his hands on an M9 Gamma Doppler, which
Então já vamos em 31 mil paus, é isso. Ele tinha 25 mil paus emprestados já pelo Mital, emprestados, e agora mais 6.716, portanto são 31 mil paus do Mital.
Stewie manages to get his hands on an M9 Gamma Doppler, which Mattel then pre-purchases for $2,700. Now, the next day, we've got a problem. Stewie reports to Matteo that apparently his sponsor has gone and reversed the trade for the M9 Gamma Doppler. Now, trade reversals are a very specific system that only works in a very specific way. If you lie about it, it will be obvious to someone who understands it, and trade reversals in this situation are very weird and
Isto não faz qualquer sentido, yeah?
anyway. This is before the recent update that broke the Steam market, so that's not an element. And even weirder is that apparently the sponsor, a gambling site called Skin Club, has given Stewie double credit for it. And good news, apparently that means he's got an extra knife for Mattel, which he also wants to pre-sell. Now, Mattel immediately starts querying this because it's very odd. Firstly, Stewie is claiming he can still get the M9 Gamma Doppler, but that should be impossible. If it was reversed, it should be locked in the bot's inventory for 30 days. Secondly, he claims that the trade was apparently reversed by someone who withdrew an item from the same bot. Now, this also is completely impossible. Stewie would not be affected in that case. But not to worry, apparently the CS dev team itself intervened to help Stewie fix his problem with a gambling...
Porra, os devs é que foram ajudar o gajo. Não, isso é mentira, é.
Rapazes, este vídeo tem o apoio da Solver.pt, o maior casino 100% legal e nacional. E vocês que gostam de apostas desportivas têm 20 € em free bets caso falhem a vossa aposta. Mesmo a perder, estão a ganhar. Para além disto, ainda têm 25 rodadas grátis só por usarem o código WIN. Joguem sempre com responsabilidade, é só para maiores de 18 anos.
Site bot. Very believable, Stewie. Now, after asking a bunch of questions, Mattel says, I understand, but this is actually just Chinese for
Yeah, eu acredito que o Mitão não tenha percebido nada e que perceba que lhe está a dar bullshit, mas continua tipo, tranquilo.
okay, you just lied to me, so please shut the fuck up. And Stewie, sensing he's not being believed, sends Mattel an image of the M9 Gamma Doppler to prove it's still in his inventory. An M9 Doppler that apparently thinks it's a butterfly knife. Now, Mattel goes and buys the Karambit for $2,481 USDC anyway. He's known for being stupid
Porra. Isto tudo sem receber nada, mais um M9, ganda maluco.
sometimes. Also, apparently Stewie's trying to convert the crypto to cash, which is never a great sign. But wait, there's more. The next day, Stewie is back and wants to pre-sell another $11,500 of skins a month in advance. Now, Mattel replies, sorry, no crypto, but that's actually just Chinese for, I do have crypto, but you can fuck off and stop trying to steal from me. But that doesn't stop Stewie. He immediately...
Caralho, bem desesperado, mano, porra. Crazy, não tinha visto isto. Portanto, o gajo está-lhe a dar desculpas para não querer comprar mais, enquanto não vir os itens, obviamente. A dizer que está atrasado para pagar contas. E ainda lhe está a perguntar se lhe pode mandar mais dinheiro para o PayPal.
He starts begging Mattel for more money. This time because his PayPal is locked. He then tries to sell him an Orb Silk Tiger, which Mattel declines. And then, on October 20th, looks like someone had their trades reversed.
Como assim trade reverse por bots? Isto não faz qualquer sentido.
Again, this is before the update that broke the market, so that's unrelated, but luckily Stewie has visual proof. Very badly Photoshop proof. Again,
foi Photoshop. Aí, mano, isso é crazy. Fez Photoshop! Porra! Uau. Mas nem sequer aparece assim, né? Por exemplo, eu estava-vos a mostrar há bocado. Nem aparece assim sequer. Ou aparece? Não, aparece. Aparece sim. Aparece assim. Pensei que vinha com uma cena amarela, mas não.
Again, this image is impossible, and Mattel would have instantly known that. Stewie then immediately starts pleading for help with the made-up trade reversals that he knows didn't actually happen.
O Mitão só lhe respondeu... Ok. Fucked up completamente.
He knows didn't actually happen. Mattel ignores this and says, you better give me the rest of the skins, and Stewie starts looking for more skins to give to Mattel.
Ok.
Happen. Mattel ignores this and says, you better
Yeah, a Karambit que deram reverse era well-worn e a Comital comprou Affected New, portanto.
To give me the rest of the skins, and Stewie starts looking for more skins to give to Mattel. He settles on a Karambit Fade, but wait, apparently there's a problem, and he wants Mattel to get...
Cancel the Karambit. Mano, este gajo não consegue mesmo resolver. Cancel the Karambit Fade, there's one big problem.
Mattel to get into a call...
By the way, nisto, eu não sei se vocês estão a perceber, mas a dívida já vai em 37 capas quase, 36.897. Wild.
With his team and sponsor, and in response, Mattel says no, just give me the money. Yeah, so at this point Mattel has snapped and he tells Stewie to get his shit together and stop asking for more money. Stewie's response is to throw his sponsor under the bus, apparently it's all their fault for some reason, and then he includes this really weird message to try and explain the trade reversals. You were the few affected by the trade reversal due to Cloudflare servers going down and leaving our website compromised. And ignoring the grammar errors for a moment, trade reversals have nothing to do with fucking Cloudflare, so Stewie is just making shit up here. Now, this does not move Mattel, so Stewie then turns to begging. Apparently he just didn't expect it, and he's late on his payments and bills and afraid. He asks to get in a call, Mattel's having none of it and just starts talking about the skins, and at this point we start going in circles with Stewie pleading and apologising but not actually fixing anything. Eventually they get to the spot where Stewie says, I'd like to have a proper conversation, at least be honest with you. And Mattel replies, no, I'm too tired, I don't want to listen to your stuff. After this, we start getting more excuses. Apparently Stewie has some money, but it's just in investments that he can't access. He says his situation is bigger than what he's able to explain right now. He also says he's apparently planning on going pro again, and that's why he needs to borrow this money. And in response, Mattel demands the butterfly that is owed, which Stewie accepts. Now, this is followed by more pleading from Stewie, who assures Mattel that he totally has the money, but he then adds that it would really help him if he could just get one more short-term loan right now. Now, at this point, Mattel has checked with Skin Club, and he is 100% certain that the whole trade reversal stuff is bullshit and calls him out on it, and also makes a blunt demand that he starts paying up. Stewie
Deixa-me só ler essa DM.
out on it, and also makes a blunt demand that he starts paying up. Stewie replies that he can't because he's got a problem with his payment system, and then there's some fucking around with a different sponsor who Stewie wants to pay him in advance to cover this, even though it sounds like he hasn't met deliverables. Now, Mattel proceeds to completely lose his cool, he threatens to expose Stewie and also
Ela começou-lhe a dar ghost basicamente nos últimos dias, por isso é que ele se passou.
accuses him of being a gambling addict. Now, Stewie immediately gets defensive and starts accusing Mattel of assumptions and accusations. So Mattel demands a straight up payment of $8,177 to settle the initial debt. Stewie says he's good for it and he'll have it as soon as his manager gets things together. Mattel says okay, but in the meantime, Stewie starts complaining again about the accusations, and in particular, the fact that Mattel doesn't believe that the skins were traded back. Now, the problem here is that Stewie doesn't know how trade reversals work, so he doesn't understand how obvious his lies were, he thinks it's still believable, and this
eu acho que sim, eu acho que ele efetivamente achava que estava a dar uma justificação válida, tipo com um gajo que mexe com skins o dia inteiro, 24 horas por dia. Há anos, não ia saber que aquilo era fake.
Off a bit of an argument. In the meantime, the manager Stewie is waiting on is apparently nowhere to be found, and while they're stuck, Stewie is not very happy with Mattel. I've respectfully taken accountability, apologised and reassured you many times that I will be paying back the money in regards to the skins. Threatening me over and over again isn't going to speed anything up or really do any good, especially when I've been cooperating the best I can.
That is one big pile of shit.
In the meantime, there are more problems with the sponsor, who Stewie apparently can't be bothered to censor anymore, so now Stewie is saying, maybe it's only going to be some of the money on November the 1st. And Mattel continues to be patient, and look, it's a miracle. It turns out there is $3,500 in Stewie's PayPal balance available on October 31st, and hopefully the rest of it will be ready by at least November the 2nd. Close enough, right? But there is a catch. It might not be in crypto, it might be in skins now. So Mattel puts his foot down and says, no, crypto only. And Stewie responds by saying, what? Are you breaking a promise? What the hell, man? And then storms out saying he's not going to talk again until November the 1st. Now, Mattel went public after this, and it is a very good thing that he did, as we're going to see soon. But first, let's check out Stewie's reaction. He was asked about it on stream and proceeded to say,
alright, you know what's crazy, bro? I don't really care. Look, I'm gonna pay him back before the 1st.
So there you go, guys, he doesn't even care. Now, he also went onto Cooper's stream where he proceeded to admit that he did Photoshop the trade reversals, but it was only...
Ele está a assumir então que fez Photoshop. O quão viciado em gamble tens que ser para depois uma posição destas? Eu acho que não está provado efetivamente que ele estourou isso no gambling. Contudo, já surgiram uns screenshots antigos dele a estourar tudo em Sweet Bonanzas e assim, não sei. Mas não sei se foi nisso que ele estourou ou noutra coisa, ou alguma dívida que tinha, não sabemos. Ou para pagar outras dívidas. Se calhar endividou-se com o Mital para pagar outra dívida ao outro gajo, não sei. Ou então já se sabe, não sei, ainda não acabamos o vídeo. Eu realmente não vi mais do que o que me apareceu no Twitter.
Because he was panicking due to the crash in skin prices because of the trade-up update, which would be a great explanation if it wasn't for the fact the reversals happened 3 days before that update. So that's another lie. So naturally the question became, how the fuck is someone so successful ended up like this?
Ou seja, ele fez 1.2 milhões só em torneios, basicamente, aqui. Diz este gajo. Só prize money, menos 100 stickers, sponsors, salário do gajo. Como é que ele está nesta situação por 30 mil paus? Estranhíssimo, realmente. Eu não sei mesmo como é que os gajos arruinam a vida assim, é um bocado estranho.
Well, it's obvious. He invested in Paris. Look, hold on to that thought, because as it turns out, this wasn't an isolated incident. Stewie owes money to a lot of other people, and Mattel is simply the first one to speak out. He immediately faced another accusation on Twitter, and I've spoken to 2 other traders who are owed a combined total of $100,000. It's all the same sort of stuff. Stewie is making and breaking promises to repay them for months. He's using their money to repay other people. He's leaving.
Portanto, o Stewie com estes gajos está a fazer exatamente isso. Portanto, está a pagar empréstimos com empréstimos de outras pessoas. Crazy. O XQC também já disse que ele não lhe devolveu skins. Porra. Grande maluco,
Leading them on, he's lying, and while I can't directly show you the receipts, I can show you this. This is Stewie, just this month. Don't be confused by the date, it is October, not August, trying to get into the Skins for Pros Discord server.
Ou seja, é um Discord de gajos que emprestam skins a pros.
This is a server where pros can borrow skins off fans, and when Stewie was politely declined because he's not a pro player anymore, he blocked the guy he was talking to. And to me, this whole situation looks like Jacob all over again. How has Stewie gotten himself into this mess? My guess would be an addiction. That's what this looks like. It looks like someone with an addiction who's ruined themselves and ended up in a massive web of debt. But Stewie claims it is a family thing, and while we obviously can't trust this guy, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. Stewie, this part is for you. I'm sorry to hear you're dealing with family problems. That sounds awful, but the people you've stolen from aren't responsible for that. You've lied to these people, you've broken promises, you've manipulated them, you've insulted them, and you've shown complete disregard to them when they've put their trust in you. And that's not fucking acceptable. There's no road back from this unless things change, and that change is going to have to start with you. And if you are someone who finds yourself in Mattel's position in the future, you do need to go public. It not only helps protect other people, but it also forces the person who's borrowed from you to actually pay.
Fucked up, fucked up. Eu não sabia que era assim tão profundo, a situação como e tal, sinceramente.